here we are, third video. This time we decided to choose Wind in the Grasses, which is a piece I wrote about 10 years ago. I've spoken about my father a few times, William Saunders. He wrote beautiful writings. He called them writings as opposed to poems. I learned a lot from my father. He was what I would call a searcher, someone who's looking for wisdom, which seems to be a little bit out of date nowadays with all the technology taking over. Ooh. Anyway, the message really is getting us back into nature and how powerful it is for everything. I mean, Mother Earth is our mother. My father said to me one time when I was feeling a bit kind of in a wilderness, as I think we all go through really, I don't know about everyone, but certainly I have, in the past, sort of a time in my life when I just really didn't know which way to go with my writings and creativity, just life generally. And he said something that was so unbelievably helpful to me. I remember it was a rare occasion. We were sitting out together in the garden, just the two of us, which is, as I say, very rare. And he said, "Come on, Helen, show me some of your, what are you up to? Show me some of your writing, show me some of your music or whatever you're doing." And I sort of shyly took out a few scraps of paper with lots of ideas and writings, scribbles, whatever. And anyway, I showed him and spoke about various projects I had in my mind. And he said, "You know, Helen, you have to get this out. You have to get your music out and your writings. It's really important because the world needs beauty." Anyway, it was very helpful and encouraging. And I remember him saying, "Look, when you go to create, my best advice is to just imagine you're the last person on the planet, and then just express what you feel yourself. Just express what you want to express." And there's just something about the way he said it, just somehow triggered something in me. And I remember writing in my special book, I had a little book that occasionally, or actually I've got lots of little notebooks which I always lose, but anyway, that's another story. I kind of know roughly where they all are, I think. Anyway, so that kind of set me off, and really helped, and I got going now with my composing and writings. And another thing he said, which was way before this was when I was, I don't know, I'd left home and I was married, so probably in my 30s. And I just remember him saying, "You know, you can learn from the grasses." I know a lot of people out there would think this is completely bonkers, but hopefully there are some people who will somehow know what the kind of the expression behind it. Anyway, I just remember thinking myself at the time, gosh, that's rather intriguing. What does he mean, you know? So after a bit, I just remember they lived by Dartmoor, and I just remember going up to the moor and just sitting quietly and looking at this astonishingly beautiful view, which was always changing because of the clouds and the mood of the weather, just amazing. And it was slightly windy and the grasses were just blowing around, and I was just looking at them. And then I suddenly got what he meant. It just like suddenly came to me. And I thought, what am I actually getting here? I'm understanding something very special. These grasses are blowing in the wind. They're literally dancing to the conductorship of the wind, and accept it. It was sort of acceptance was coming through, that they were allowing. So that's a great word, isn't it? Anyway, I went home and various things happened, as they do in your life, and then I suddenly found that I was writing this piece. Well, it wrote itself, as my pieces tend to do. And that's not to say it's easy composing, because it's an effort. It really is an effort. So what I thought I would do is to read a little poem which isn't about grasses, but it's got a lovely feeling about nature, and just I'm very passionate about this particular moment because I feel it's so important that we don't lose sight of being grounded with our feet in the mud. What do I mean by that? Just, you know, we can't let go of who we really are, because technology is very helpful But personally, I get much more out of, I don't need them. I'd be quite happy to get rid of all of it. I really would. Anyway, that's another story. I'm going to read a poem called Where Innocence is Staying, which I guess he wrote, I don't honestly know the date, but I guess he wrote somewhere around 1990s. It's very, very beautiful. Where innocence is staying, take away the film of nowness that wraps itself around me as I sit in my body thinking of long ago. Take away the smells and sounds, creaks and sights of the moment. Remove all those immediate factors that make me feel like a surfer on a rolling wave. Leave me for a while to live in the world of my imagination, where the forest has not been razed, the motorway has not been thought of, and the traveller takes a day to travel 40 miles. Let me smell the deep country. Let me hear all the birds. Let me walk down a lane and take tea in an inn where innocence is staying. Yeah, I mean, it's a very powerful message, I feel, because it somehow helps one to realise that there is a state of beingness where he talks about using his imagination. We let our imagination go, and we truly create. We create a scene in our heads, in our feelings. It's this incredibly special thing. Anyway, hopefully you'll find this interesting on some level. We will make another. We will be making another video. Take care, everybody.